The NFL has seen its fair share of costly fines throughout the years. In this video, we'll explore the most expensive penalties in NFL history, which are frequently applied to players, clubs, or even owners, and act as a warning that the league maintains strict guidelines for moral behavior. Now, let's discuss some of the most significant fines in NFL history. Number 10. Brian Urlacher, $100,000. Wearing his Chicago Bears suit, Brian Urlacher plopped into his chair during Super Bowl 41 Media Week. Nothing unusual, right? But the NFL penalized Chicago Bears linebacker Brian Urlacher $100,000 for sporting a cap during Super Bowl Media Day with an advertisement for an unapproved sponsor. The former linebacker, meanwhile, was donning a vitamin water hat. The problem with Urlacher's headgear selection was that, although he had a sponsorship agreement with Vitamin Water, well, the company was not an official NFL sponsor. Whatever the case, Urlacher was hit with a hefty $100,000 punishment. Ordinarily, Urlacher would have only received a $10,000 fine. However, because he wore it during the week of the Super Bowl, the NFL increased his penalty tenfold because of the publicity. The official beverage of the NFL is Gatorade. The NFL was being paid $45 million a year at the time by Gatorade. According to NFL rules, apparel that promotes anything other than an authorized sponsor is prohibited. McCarthy stated that this fine had never been imposed before. He also mentioned that the typical penalty at the Super Bowl for this kind of infraction is $100,000.
Personal foul, illegal low block, number 90. 15-yard penalty.
Number 9. Ndamukong Suh, $100,000. NFL defensive lineman Ndamukong Suh is well known for his aggressive and even controversial style of play.
With his forearm, that is unnecessary. I rule a foul. That ball is added to the end of the run.
Despite the NFL's reputation for being a physically and psychologically demanding sport, Suh gives his opponents no favors by consistently playing beyond the line. When Suh joined the Detroit Lions in 2013, he had a spectacular start to the season. Suh delivered a low blow to Minnesota Vikings center John Sullivan in the opening game of the season. The Vikings center was clearly trailing DeAndre Levy, who had intercepted Christian Ponder and could have coasted into the end zone. Suh purposely went low and clipped Sullivan while removing his surgically repaired knee. Sullivan wasn't seriously injured.
The receiver's hands right into the hands of the linebacker.
But it was a dangerous and unnecessary play. Rather than that, the NFL will receive $100,000 of Suh's $12.1 million 2013 paycheck. Suh would have paid under $80,000 in total for a 2-game suspension. The $100,000 is certainly significant, and it represents the NFL's highest ever fine for an on-field infraction.
And that is a personal foul against Ndamukong Suh, and Sullivan was helped off the field.
Number 8. Ray Lewis, $250,000. Ray Lewis is one of the most recognizable linebackers in NFL history. He had a stellar career, a roster of leadership moments and great plays, and finished his second straight All-Pro and fourth consecutive Pro Bowl season. His Baltimore Ravens, well, yeah, had just won the Super Bowl. What was supposed to be Lewis's crowning achievement ended up being his worst nightmare. Lewis was either a suspect or a witness in a double homicide that occurred soon after the Super Bowl. Lewis was accused of obstructing justice after he declined to fully comply with the police. Naturally, the NFL was not happy with the accusations made against Lewis and promptly penalized him $250,000. Ultimately, Lewis settled the fine and continued with his life and work. Ray Lewis went on to have an incredible NFL career despite the legal issues he had in 2000. Lewis played his whole career for the Baltimore Ravens, where he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion and multiple award winner, including 2 NFL Defensive Player of the Year titles. Number 7. Shaun Rogers, $400,000. Shaun Rogers never tried to force the quarterback of the other side to the ground excessively. However, Rogers had a few strong seasons despite his generally mediocre stats. Rogers was a reliable piece of machinery on numerous unsuccessful Detroit Lions teams, and his resume boasts 3 Pro Bowl seasons. Despite his tendency to stay beneath the radar, Rogers attracted unwelcome attention to himself at an airport in Cleveland. Rogers was detected in possession of a weapon in his carry-on luggage as he attempted to board an aircraft and travel to his destination. The NFL opted to penalize the former Cleveland Browns defensive tackle $400,000, or the pay of 1 game, after he was found in possession of a loaded revolver during his 2010 arrest at Hopkins International Airport. Number 6. Bill Belichick, $500,000. The New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick was fined $500,000 by the NFL after its Spygate investigation was concluded in 2007. This amount remains the highest fine ever imposed on a head coach due to the Spygate affair, which involves secretly videotaping opponents' hand signals. At the time, this was the most significant individual fine ever levied by the NFL. It's still the largest fine ever imposed on a head coach. Commissioner Roger Goodell additionally ordered that the team forfeit its second and third round draft selections in the event that it misses the playoffs, as well as its first round draft choice in the following year. The videotape was discovered after Patriots video assistant Matt Estrella had his camera taken away from him while watching the New York Jets play last Sunday at Giants Stadium. New England defeated the Jets 38-14. Goodell has no intention of altering the game's outcome.
Were paid money for hitting players with such brutal force it knocked them out of games.
Number 5. New Orleans Saints, $500,000. In the 2012 infamous Bountygate controversy, the New Orleans Saints lost 2 second-round draft picks and were fined $500,000. It's reported that coaches encouraged players to hurt opponents, especially elite players from competing teams. The plan resulted in injuries and a scandal that damaged the Saints and the NFL's reputations. Sean Payton received a 1-year suspension after the Bountygate affair in 2012, and the Saints also had to pay a $500,000 fine. Number 4. New Orleans Saints, $700,000. The Saints, like the Raiders, were assessed significant COVID-19 fines in 2020. Ultimately, those fines came to $700,000. Following their COVID-19 infractions during the 2020 season, the New Orleans Saints will be forced to lose a pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The NFL announced that the Saints will forfeit a 6th-round pick in 2022 and pay a $700,000 fine. The 2020 season saw 3 instances of COVID-19 protocol violations by the Saints. In Week 2, Sean Payton, the head coach of the Saints, failed to adequately cover his face, which cost the team $250,000 and Payton $100,000. In Week 9, the squad celebrated without a mask, which cost them $500,000 in fines. Number 3. Jamal Lewis, $760,000. The skill set of Jamal Lewis astounded NFL executives. Only 8 running backs in NFL history have amassed more than 2,000 rushing yards in a season, including Lewis. Lewis made an immediate impression. He led the league in rushing yards in 2003 with 2,066 yards after rushing for 1,364 yards and 6 touchdowns in just 4 years. But in 2004, he entered a guilty plea to federal cocaine possession charges, which damaged his legacy and resulted in a $760,000 fine from the league. Lewis was found guilty in 2000 of conspiracy and possession with the purpose to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine, and he was penalized in 2004. Lewis spent 4 months in federal prison following a plea agreement. Lewis was fortunate enough to be able to play on the field again for 4 more seasons, including several seasons with 1,000 yards or more. Number 2. Las Vegas Raiders, $800,000. The Las Vegas Raiders were fined $800,000 for going beyond league rules during the COVID-19 pandemic during the 2020 season. Several infractions were found throughout the investigation, including Trent Brown, a correct tackle who tested positive for COVID-19 but continued to play, and players who disregarded the rules on social distancing and mask wear. After an NFL protocol violation in Week 2, the 2020 6th-round pick for Las Vegas was initially removed, but it was returned after an appeal.
I don't know what happened between the time that I touched it and, really till Monday morning, I have no idea what happened with the balls.
Number 1. New England Patriots, $1 million. After the NFL concluded its Deflategate investigation in May 2015, the Patriots were smacked with an enormous fine. The team lost a draft pick and was fined $1 million. During a playoff game against the Indianapolis Colts, the Patriots were charged with inflating balls to make them easier to catch. The NFL's findings led to this significant financial penalty. The NFL's dedication to upholding the highest standards of behavior and safety, both on and off the field, is demonstrated by these significant sanctions. The league uses these financial sanctions, which can be considerable, as a way to protect its honor and good name.